Hi Cancer, this is Kay. You're on the Collective Soul Tarot channel. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you had a really good weekend and I hope you're doing well. So let's find out what Archangel Michael and the Holy Spirit need you to know today. Okay, Cancer? Starting with the past energy. We got number 2. That's, union, partnering up, love, that kind of thing. Fun, balloons, fun, freedom, high vibe, relief, rising up, ascension, aspiration, success, joyful, higher perspective, cheerful, attaining goals, stress-free, independence, and let it go. Cool. I think that's really cool. Now, what about for the present day energy? We have family, card number 4. That's foundation, loyalty, faithful, allegiance, parents, children, siblings, fidelity, commitment, trust, affection, support systems, origins, tribe, dependable, sincere, and kindred spirits. Yeah, soul family. And now the near future. Woman. This was just out for, what was it that I just did? Gemini reading, but it was in this position. So you might be interested in the Gemini reading if it's part of your birth chart, if it's a placement in your birth chart. So woman, you are the querent, a person you know, girlfriend, fiance, spouse, love interest, or feminine energy. Okay, let's get something from the Lenormand. See, it doesn't matter. I've got 2 big decks stuck together. Come out, the same cards come out anyways. Just picking them randomly. You got lilies for the past. Card 30, that's about communication. Present day energy, we have owls. That's communication again too. That's 3 for communication. And by the way, 29 is 11, so it's a master number, and that's ace. The ace of spades, which is the ace of swords, somebody who speaks their truth, follows their truth, speaks it, teaches it, whatever. And the clover with the number 2 again, like it is over here. Coupling up, partnering up, duality, duplicity, 6 of diamonds, which is 6 of pentacles. And that's about, equal give and take. 2 things, equal give and take. Equal give and take, equal reciprocities. So, lilies, I want to read that one. Is it the Gilded Reverie? Oh, I'm going to read from the actual. This is the one, they don't really give you a whole lot of information from this book though. Let's see, 30. 30, lilies, peace, harmony, contentment, maturity, experience, support, elders, wisdom, virtue, passion, completion, satisfaction, sex, influence, sensuality, and recognition. Someone of influence, maturity or wisdom, a content situation. So we look at this here. Fun, freedom, high vibe, relief, rising up, ascension, aspiration, success, joyful, higher perspective, cheerful, attaining goals, stress-free, independence, let it go. That's about letting it go. Like, that's independence. Letting it go. Why is it number 2 then? Rising up, ascension, aspiration, success, joyful, higher perspective. Someone of influence, maturity, or wisdom, a content situation. Well, so let's read the book then. 30, lilies. Calm, peace, and serenity is what I preach. Calm, peace, and serenity. Oh, by the way, it's got the king of swords here. King of spades, king of swords. Another person who speaks their truth. This is the ace of swords. It's the master number. A woman who speaks her truth, follows her truth. And it says, calm, peace, and serenity is what I preach. Your parents and elders show up under my symbol. Okay, isn't that interesting? We've got family right next to it. I bring wisdom and experience, which is what this one talks about, isn't it? Wisdom, higher perspective, which would be wisdom. Ascension, wisdom. Yeah. So wisdom and experience. I signify a long-term relationship or ancestry. Contentment and satisfaction is my angle. And that's what that book, the other book, said about being content. I think it said wisdom too, if I'm not mistaken. A content situation, and then yes, wisdom here. Experience and wisdom. Wisdom and experience, which is what this said. All right. So calm, peace, and serenity, wisdom and experience, long-term relationship or ancestry, contentment. Can also symbolize motherhood. As a result, these calm-looking flowers with their glia, well, they don't have that they are both growing and yet eternally captured in smooth glass without any of their essence. Shows the two sides of this card. We might suggest that they are a range of excitement, sexual, nurturing, or the absence of that excitement and chastity. As a card, these lilies make the cards about them pure, simple, and or excite their nature. Yeah. Excite their nature. Well, we're talking about, look at this, you know, balloons. Talk about exciting their nature. Fun, freedom, you know, let it go, high vibe, you know, that's wisdom. Relief, rising up, ascension, all about wisdom, spiritual growth, aspiration, success, joyful, and so forth. So joyful, fun, freedom, that's exciting. They excite each other, I think. But then you have, right now at this time, in the present day energy, you have two owls, which could be people online, okay, because these owls are standing on a branch in line with each other, right beside each other. So you could be communicating with family members. It's a Seven of Pentacles here. So looking at what you've sown, looking at what you have achieved, family, loyalty, faithful, allegiance, parents, children, siblings, fidelity, commitment, trust, affection, support system, right there, ancestry, right, support system, origins, of course, family, tribe, dependable, sincere, and kindred spirits. Okay, well, we just got to get into the tarot now. Get some more information for you, Cancer. Archangel Michael, what is the major arcana that wants to speak to this reading? This one? Okay. The Lovers. Dang it. You've got to watch the Gemini reading, because that major arcana that came out, different deck, said the Lovers right here, where I'm going to put this one. During the year I stood there, I had known was the loss of my heart. While I was in love, I was the happiest man on earth. Okay. Lovers. Same card as Gemini's reading. Freedom. Fun. High vibe. Lilies. It's communication. Knight of Swords. Seen from a higher perspective with the Nine of Swords here. Okay. Nine of Swords. Something is keeping you up at night, and it might be kind of freaking you out a bit. Now, I know this happens to me, is that I get all sorts of kind of like downloads, I guess you would say, while I'm sleeping. That seems to happen to me the most when I'm sleeping. The dreams reflect it. And some of the dreams I can actually, you know, interpret, but some of them is like, I don't know what it's trying to tell me. I'm just gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to wait. If it's something I need to know, it'll show up in my genes somewhere, you know, as an epiphany will come to me just out of the blue when I least expect it, and it's just like I'm gonna understand something, and that happens to me a lot. It's gonna go, oh, okay. Yeah. So anyways, Nine of Swords, it could be you having what seems like nightmares, but it's really you releasing your fears. You're processing your fears, whatever it is that you still fear. And if you fear whatever it is, communication you're getting from above, It's giving you a different perspective. It gave you, because it's the past, it gave you a different perspective. It helped you to look at things differently. Because when you can look at something from a different perspective, a higher vantage point, which is what the King of Swords does, he's black and white. He looks at it through the eyes of wisdom. In the other tarot decks, you see him sitting on the mountaintop. And he's seen what's down below, and he's got an owl for wisdom speaking to him. He's got a raven for spirit that's assisting him in understanding what it is that he's seeing, perceiving, right? So you're at a higher perspective, a high vibe, rising up. You gain some kind of like aha or epiphany, or just some kind of spiritual. You've been given spiritual downloads, like I said. Spiritual downloads that, like for example, it wasn't something that came to me while I slept, but I read the book, The Disappearance of the Universe, by whoever, what is his name? Yeah, so The Disappearance of the Universe. And it falls in line with the Course in Miracles, and that's why I started studying it, of course. Well, that's not why I started studying the Course in Miracles. I started studying the Course in Miracles because I saw the name of the book in Carolyn Myth's, one of her books. Oh my God, yeah. And I was curious, like, what is A Course in Miracles? Sounds really interesting because it's about miracles, right? Miracles, magic, right? Miraculous things that happen. I want to know more about A Course in Miracles. So I bought the book, and then I looked at it and I looked through the book and I thought, oh my God, this looks worse than the Bible, you know? There's like 1,175 pages in it, and it's paper thin, like that type of thin paper that you find in the Bibles, and it's got that kind of language and just constant words, you know, constant narrative where it doesn't seem to end in it. And I was going, holy crap, this is A Course in Miracles. What am I going to do with this? So I put it aside. I moved to Australia shortly after that, and I took the dang book with me. And I never even looked at it then. I didn't study it then. I brought it all the way back to the United States a year later. But that's when I had gotten the book, The Disappearance of the Universe. And when I started reading Disappearance of the Universe, I started realizing this is like connected somehow to A Course in Miracles, because it even talks about A Course in Miracles in it, how his experiences, the author's experiences with what would be a present, like a futuristic him, a person, a futuristic him, and what would become eventually his wife would be a futuristic. They came back from the future and sat on his couch in his living room in the physical form where he could go up to them and poke them. They just suddenly appeared, and there they were. He was like, are you real? Like, how did you, you know, freaked him out that they're there, right? Where'd you come from, you know? And they're their future selves. He comes to realize that Arden, I think it's Arden, is actually going to be his near future wife. I don't remember her name, but he does marry her within, like, I don't know, not long after I read his book. I went to one of his things, and she was there, and they were getting married. So that was her in the future. The man was her. The woman was him in the future that came back, sat on his couch, and was teaching him about these things that Jesus was channeling through Helen Schuckman and A Course in Miracles. So I said, now I've got to study the dang thing, because I read the book. Well, I read the book, right? And what they talk about, one of the first things they talk about is the opening of A Course in Miracles, where Jesus actually channels through Helen Schuckman, says that the world is not real. And that shook me up. It was like, what? The world is not real? How can that be true? That's not possible. Slammed the book together, put it down, just ticked right off. You know, I was really upset. That was before I changed my ways, okay? Of course, miracles helped me change the way I emotionally reacted to things. So yeah, hallelujah to A Course in Miracles. It changed my life because it balanced it. It grounded me in my emotions. So I'm not like this. I'm like this. So nice now. But in any ways, it took me 2 weeks because I kept thinking about it every day. It took me 2 weeks, like literally 2 weeks, where I was like, okay, let me read this. Started reading the book by, what is his name? But anyways, The Disappearance of the Universe. I started reading that, and I found it exceptionally interesting. Like, I just couldn't get enough. I was like reading, this is quite a thick book too, but it's a normal book, not like the Course in Miracles. And I was like practically reading the whole thing in one sitting because I was just gobbling it up. And I just thought, wow, this is interesting. How is it that the world's not real? I really need to know what they're trying to say about that. So I did. And then the next thing you know, I'm studying A Course in Miracles, and I studied the book like I was actually studying for a test in university, which I was in university at the time, taking my courses to become a mental health counselor, licensed one. So, long story short, that talked about how the world is not real, and I threw me off my balance, made me really upset, because if, you know, what does it mean if the world's not real? Does that mean we're not real? Does it mean that the relationships I have with people are not real? Like, then none of this is happening? Like, how can none of this have meaning? And that's basically what it boils down to. It's not real, therefore you don't make meaning of it, which means you're not attached to it, which means you're free. When you're not attached to things, you offer the miracle of forgiveness to everything that you thought was real, therefore you had to have an emotional reaction to it, because it obviously means something. And especially if something's hurting us, we make meaning of it, that you know, that person's a jerk, they shouldn't do that, they hurt me, this, that, and the other thing. And then we're supposed to be upset for a long, long time. We're supposed to withhold forgiveness. We're supposed to be upset again, continue to be upset for the rest of our lives because this person hurt us like 20 years ago, and we're still upset about it when we think about it now. You know, this is a release of all of that. Talk about the balloons: fun, freedom, high vibe, relief, rising up, ascension, aspiration, success, joyful, higher perspective, cheerful. If you're sitting at the top of the mountain, you gain this wisdom from having that higher perspective, that you, it's just like learning A Course in Miracles. You are to learn it, but you are to apply it as well. It's one thing to know something, but it's another thing to behave as though you truly believe in it. So when you're at the top of the mountain learning all this wisdom, you're supposed to go down back into the valley and live your life like you truly believe what it was that you learned as wisdom at the top. And that is our task as a student of Course in Miracles. So everything that we learned that helped me balance my emotions and become a totally different person as a result than what I was before I started, and healing and not feeling the ouches anymore from the painful hardships that I've experienced relationship-wise and any otherwise, I just started healing left, right, and center because of A Course in Miracles. Starting with The Disappearance of the Universe, which gave me like a kind of a prerequisite of previewing what would be learned, what would be taught in A Course in Miracles. So it kind of helped very more gently translated, you know, transferred me, you know, it helped me integrate more easily and more readily into what the teachings of from Jesus, who you know, apparently it's Jesus who, I don't say for certain, but you know, it's wisdom. And that's all that matters to me. It feels like it's wisdom. So it was channeled through Helen Schuchman, who was a clinical psychologist, and she is now dead. So anyways, back to this. You are receiving some information that can release you. You have. And it's come from above. Okay? It has come from above, Cancer. And it's kind of, it's gobsmacked you right in the face, possibly, like it did with me. The world is not real. Well, it may not be that for you, but it's something that kind of shook your foundations. This is a foundation card for family. You might be wondering about the loyalties of your family. wondering about the origins of your family, wondering about whether or not they are committed to you, that they would support you. You know, you'd be wondering that possibly your parents or your family of any kind, siblings, children, whatever, do they have your back? Do you feel like you can go to them are they loyal to you? Do you have their support? And then you've got the two owls here that are on the line with you, communicating with you. And it could be your parents, okay? But it could be people, or it could again be your soul family. Your soul family, which are different, like your soul family. The parents that you have, and children and whatever, they're all part of your soul family. But different lifetimes, we have different, it's not your full soul family. Your full soul family is like humongous. So you have other soul family in spirit speaking to you at all times and protecting you and supporting you, okay? So you may be getting that kind of information while you're sleeping, and you may not understand it. And so you're kind of like, it's like this. I had known, it says here, during the year I stood there, I had known was the loss of my heart, which could be the loss of a certain belief system. While I was in love with a certain belief that, the world is square, let's just say, I was the happiest man on earth. Well, now suddenly I'm finding out the earth is round. This is just a way to translate the energies here. Suddenly I'm finding out the earth is round, and now my whole, imagine, who is it, Cook, the explorer, finding out that there's no corners of the planet. It just keeps going around. Imagine how it blew their minds. They thought it was flat and just had corners. So it's kind of like the idea of aliens, right? That there can't be any aliens, but yet we're getting all sorts of signs that are telling us there's other life out there. It's not just us on little old planet Earth, just us. We're not that precious that we're the only ones in all the universes, even just one universe. Oh my God. Anyways, the universe is so vast. How could we be the only ones? So this is sort of something that's shaking your foundation, possibly. Your foundation of what you feel that you could be faithful to, that is like, and you might want to watch the Gemini reading, because I had the example of being someone who's a Christian who follows the Bible. And then suddenly someone comes into their life, either online, social, not necessarily you get to know them personally. It's just like someone you start reading, you see a book when you're in the bookstore or something. Like, that's how I learned. I went to the bookstore because we didn't have all that we have now when I started my journey. And I saw this book and the title, and I thought, that's interesting. I'll buy that one. So I'd read that, and I read so many books. So it just might be something that's shaking your foundation, that you're receiving downloads from above. So not just your soul family and your ancestors, but from spirit guides and guardian angels and archangels and God only knew what angels. God himself, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, everything. It could even be from garden gnomes or Cupid. It could be from unicorns, the spirit of unicorns, or the spirit of forest nymphs. I don't know. There's all these different spiritual beings that we can't see for the most part. Some of us might be able to, but we can't see, but apparently are speaking to us, guiding us all the time. We just have to become consciously aware of it. So then you become this woman, right? This woman who you're feeling like, wow, I'm feeling like I'm tapped in turned on and tuned in to my higher self. This master, 11, 29, 2 and 9 adds up to 11. So it's a master number with the Ace of Swords, that new path that you're on, that you're following in the near future, that is going to lead to like the Wheel of Fortune kind of experiences in your life with the Clover card. Wow. Doubling up with something or someone, that equal give and take, equal reciprocity. So what you learn, you're able to give, and what you receive, or what you give, you receive. So it's back and forth. It's constant back and forth. But that is how spiritual growth works. Now, if you're talking about personal development, just purely from the level of the third dimension, it's not like that. It can be, but it's generally not like that. We end up giving more than we get, or we end up taking more than what anyone was really willing to give us. So we have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, there's another two right there. Juggling the sun energy with the lilies. That's enlightenment, right? Freedom, happiness, freedom, release, enlightenment, health, happiness. I keep saying happiness. Two of Pentacles. It's kind of like, do I want to be free or don't I want to be free? Or I'm feeling I've got this information. I'm getting this information. I need to, discern between what I feel is right and what's not right. Because it's all your truth. Your truth. If it's someone else's truth, that's fine. But you take it on as your truth, that becomes your truth. So Two of Pentacles is kind of, you're going to be managing the information. You're going to actually be successfully managing the information. Success, right? Enlightenment. That's what you've done in the past already. You've got your hand on it already with the Nine of Pentacles. That is the pinnacle of success in the 3D world, in the 3D realm, right? The Pentacle, grounded successfully and doing well. Doing well, totally in tune with nature, of course, because it has to do with the ground, with earth. Yeah, totally. Like, look at this one. Sleeping. Grizzly bear looks like, a Kodiak one, I'm not sure, but he's sleeping in his cave and he's got all his pentacles up there. And he's going, it's night time. I'm totally sleeping. So you're going to be blessed if you but allow yourself to have these groundbreaking moments that might be freaking you out, that may be keeping you up at night because you keep thinking about it. Like I did with the world thing. It kept me up at night. I'd wake up to go pee, and that's the first thing that came onto my mind, and it made me so mad for the longest time. Well, almost 2 weeks. I started coming more flexible, started opening up to the possibility that there might be some truth to it, and I'm never going to know unless I read some more, learn some more, right? I at least did it, if not for anything else, but to find out it was false. That I would read this information, I'd find out that it was just all charlatan stuff, and I could put that to rest now. I can know that the world is real, right? But that's not what happened. So in any case, Nine of Pentacles, you're going to be sitting nice and satiated, content. You're going to find peace, in other words. You will have that peace and healing equilibrium. With the owls, you got the Ten of Wands, yeah, because the Ten of Wands, it's a release of the burdens, and this is what's being shown you, being told you that for me, for example, if it was, I was learning from Spirit, as I was also learning from the books I was reading, the people who wrote them, that the world is not real. Therefore, you don't put meaning to it. Therefore, when you believe that the world isn't real, you have that higher perspective from the King of Swords perspective, you've learned something. that you've not heard before. It's not of this world information. It comes through not of this world. It comes through spirit line, right? It is going to be life-changing. It's life-changing, but it's also going to bring on a sense of burden, because whatever you learned at the higher perspective, you now are a person, a human being with a soul, who is in the world, but not of the world any longer. Yep. Other people are thinking they're in the world and they're of the world. That's it. This is it. That's it. This is very real. What's going on here is very real. So you're going to have maybe that epiphany where you're saying, I've got this knowledge. Now I've got to make sense of it, and you make sense of it by putting it into practice. Like the King of Swords comes down from the mountains back to the valley and lives his life from the new knowledge that he's gained, the new wisdom that he's gained, that this is not real, or whatever your whatever you've received as truth. Okay, so you're going to be putting the burdens down that they're going to tell you. It's going to feel burdensome at first, but as you practice what you've learned, you're going to find that now this is the interesting part. You're going to find that whatever was difficult and challenging for you to have to experience in life, because you have a new perspective on things, why everything happens for a reason, that kind of thing, you have a new perspective of it, you can actually start detaching meaning from it. And that's going to tell you that it's not that important to me anymore. It once was important to me to know that people would speak to me with respect and this, that, and the other thing, or just respond to me in a way I would be towards them. If they don't, it doesn't feel good, but I don't have to hold on to this as being something that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life, and without forgiveness for that person for the rest of my life. I shall never forgive that person for the whole entire lifetime. And who are you really hurting? Not that person. You're hurting yourself. And that's for the burdens that you're going to be releasing as a result of this new knowledge. Nine of Swords again. I mean, this is a big thing. It's going to continue to threaten your this is white, right? Purity. It's your beliefs, right? It's going to continue to threaten what you had come to know as your truth, as your belief in something. Like my belief that the world was real, or is real, right? That the new knowledge, the information I'm gaining, is threatening to kill or harm my I had as a belief before. And that's where you're becoming a new woman. You're mastering wisdom with the Knight of Swords. Then the Knight of Swords, what does the Knight of Swords do? The clover energy. The Knight of Swords goes out very, very fast and starts sharing what it is. I always believed that the world was real. This is my example. The world was real, and I'm talking to a friend, or they've got a friend around them, and or with other people, and I'm saying, and then I read this book, and then I studied this book, and you know what? I just feel like things are a lot better for me, or at least a little bit better now, because I'm not so hung up on things anymore. Just not so hung up on things anymore, and I feel free. I feel free from my emotional roller coaster rides, right? I feel free. And I would tell anybody, it's not that important to get yourself all wound up and to stay wound up for your entire life, how that's going to affect your health and all that. Seven of Cups, there's some options, but confusion too. Page of Swords, that's a message with the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. Wow, and Justice with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords, okay. Ace of Swords, right? Which is this one, Ace of Swords. There you are. You're the Ace of Swords. But Seven of Cups is that there are plenty of other ideas, okay, other belief systems, other beliefs, other wisdoms. You know, you got the Bible, the Quran, the Tao, the this, the that, the Buddhism, there's so many other things, teachings, and beliefs, and spiritual teachings, that kind of thing. There's so much out there. It's very confusing, and it's been confusing you. It has, but you're looking back at the past and you're seeing now. If this was me, I'd be looking back at the past and saying, I once believed that the world was real. Never mind that it was flat, because I know. But I once learned the world was real. Now look at me. I have this new truth that I haven't picked up the sword just yet. But I have this new truth that, because I'm looking back at the past, that's leading me on a different path completely. The world's not real, right? I'll be taking action. Okay, I'm taking action on what it is. That's the King of Swords coming in, now living the life as a doer instead of just a thinker. You're going to be living your life, practicing, putting into action what it is that you've been learning. See the sun with the crow, the bird is the spirit teaching the lion, enlightening the lion with more, and his crown's up there. But he's becoming enlightened. He's the king and queen of wands. They're intuitive as well. So because they're kings and they're queens, and then the Queen of Pentacles is that you're going to be now, because you're practicing your wisdom as the King of Swords. You're practicing your wisdom in the valley, in real life, right? You're practicing. I'm in the world, but I'm not of it, right? This is the Queen of Pentacles. Now you become the Queen of Pentacles energy with this, like this, where people look at you with respect. They even come to you with advice. They start saying, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, like I'm a mental health counselor, right? So people come to me because they're emotionally distraught, mentally, emotionally distraught, confused, depressed, anxious, not being able to cope with whatever's going on in their life. And I help bring them to a new perspective. I give them a new perspective. And I'm not necessarily talk about A Course in Miracles or anything like that, but I help them see what's going on in their life in a different way, which then gives them the ability to say, okay, I feel a lot better now. And you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to feel like, because this is the 11 card, the 11, you're going to feel like you're mastering something that has been confusing you. All right, confusing you, maybe making you angry like it did with me. You're mastering it. You're getting things sorted out. You're still receiving downloads. You're still able to walk your truth, this path of truth. You're still gonna do all of that, but you're doing it from a more equilibrium, more balanced emotional life, because you're understanding things better. You become the Queen of Pentacles, can help people understand what it is that they don't understand, that can help them change their lives. And it doesn't have to be like spiritual growth stuff, like I said. It just has to be like, have you ever thought of the reason why this person did this to you is that maybe they're, blah, blah, blah. And your person that you're talking to might say, well, I don't really care why they did it. All I know is that I don't like what they did. And you're going to say, yeah, but if you were to put yourself in their shoes for just a moment and understand where they're coming from, what would you say about that? Well, if this was me, I guess I'd want somebody to, give me the benefit of the doubt, kind of thing. So they go away feeling a little lighter. Each day that I talk to them, they feel a little bit lighter, and they're happier as a result. So this is what I know, and I don't know if this resonates with you, but I sure hope it does. Hey, by the way, if it does, please let me know. Comment. I'd love to hear from you. Bye for now.